This is episode 543, Breaking the Pattern of Managing Family Feelings with Emily. Welcome to Life Coaching with Christine Hassler, a space where truth and love come together to guide you back to your truest self. Hi, I'm Christine, a master coach, author, and spiritual psychologist. For over 20 years, I've supported people through the deep work of letting go, waking up, and coming home to who they truly are. Each week, you'll hear an unedited, unscripted coaching session with someone moving through a challenge or block in their life. These are tender and powerful conversations where deep healing happens in real time. Even though I'm coaching someone else, you will hear yourself in their story. This is a place where you will feel seen and supported and walk away with insight, emotional relief, and tools you can apply in your own life. Let's dive into today's session. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm so grateful to have you here. And today is a topic that we touch on a lot in this show, which is how to not feel responsible for other people's feelings. This is very common if you do what's called the merging personality pattern, or I like to call it a safety strategy, which is you kind of do the I'm okay if you're okay thing. And it's really tricky with family members, especially your mom. If you do something that upsets someone, again, especially your mom or someone you care deeply about, and the tendency is to make sure they're okay, right? Because that's what love is, isn't it? Isn't love making sure everyone else is okay? It is not. But a lot of us think that it is. And that's what we unpack in today's coaching episode with Emily. As a reminder, every Wednesday I air a life coaching episode where I'm coaching someone raw. It's unscripted, unproduced, really unedited. And every Saturday, well, not every Saturday, but a lot of Saturdays, I air an interview with someone I respect, another expert, or I just share a story. I've been a little, I wouldn't say slacking. I don't want to say the word slacking. My life has been very full, so I haven't had a Saturday episode in a while, but I will have one this week. So heads up on that. Before we dive in, I want to talk to you about feet. First, I'm going to talk to you about my feet. They're not my best body part, that's for sure. I've had trouble with my feet since I was very young. Think bunions, think too narrow a foot, just like not a good situation. Can't wear heels. I'm very particular about the kind of shoes that I wear. That's why I was excited about a brand called Paloova. They're a 5-toe minimalist shoe, which offers an authentic barefoot style experience, but with sufficient cushioning to use for any manner of everyday movement, fitness, and athletic activities. Paloovas are also incredibly stylish, so you get a barefoot shoe that looks pretty good. Paloovas are the solution to the damage and destruction caused by modern shoes, the elevation of the heel, excessive cushioning and support features, and toes crammed together. The result is 77% of Americans suffering from chronic pain, like bunions, raise my hand to that, corns, blisters, so on and so forth. I mean, sometimes I'm amazed at the tennis shoes people wear. They're like heels. So Paloova's best of class advantage is the individual 5-toe articulation, a separate slot for each of your toes, which is pretty cool. It allows for the correct dynamic movement of the foot, which is impossible when toes are all in a single box, even a wide toe box. So when you put on a pair of Paloovas, you're getting an automatic foot strengthening effect, a toe spacer effect, and a healing effect from the damage caused by regular shoes. I want you to try a pair of Paloovas with no risk, and you'll quickly realize these are the most comfortable and beneficial shoes you've ever worn. They're designed to make you feel like we're walking barefoot on a putting green. So go to Paloova.com, that's Peluva.com, and use the code Christine for 10% off your first pair. Again, Peluva.com, and use the code Christine for 10% off your first pair. Emily, welcome to the show. How can I help?
Hi. Yeah, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much. So I wrote a book, and it's about how to be, thank you. It's about how to be an intentional, basically badass grandparent. And while I'm not a grandparent, I do have a child, and it comes out this September, which I'm excited about. And when I told my mom that I wrote a book and I told her the topic, she went silent. So she didn't say anything. She didn't react. There was no questions. So I let it sit for a little bit. And I followed up about a week later, and I said, hey, can I send you the draft? And I sent her the draft of the book. And her immediate reaction was defensive. She had internalized the entire book as being about her, when in reality, only about 5% actually involves her at all. And a lot of that is positive. So she read the book through the lens of what does this say about me and her potential failings that perhaps she sees in her own eyes. But that's not at all what it's about. So I'm feeling a little stuck right now in terms of how do I move forward to help her understand my context and also honor and respect where she's coming from.
Why is it your job to help her?
It's not. And also, our family has had rocky moments, as I'm sure any family has. And I feel that to keep the peace, that feels like it's my job, even though I know it's not.
How long has it felt like your job to keep the peace?
Oh gosh, forever. A lifetime, perhaps.
Right. Do you still want to do that?
I don't know. I honestly, no. And also, I haven't really been able to find a way not to do that.
Well, usually we don't find a way not to do that because we're not comfortable with people's upset.
Yeah. It's hard to sit with that for sure.
It is. If you had been sitting with it your whole life, you'd be saying the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be saying it's harder to make everybody happy. It's familiar to have this pattern of creating safety, belonging, and connection through making sure everybody's not mad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a role many people, especially women, especially mothers, take on. And let me just back up for a second. Why'd you write this book?
It's complicated. And actually, the crux of it does come down to family. I wrote it because of when I had my son, I had a vision of what grandparents could look like in my head. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen that vision come to life for my son. And I wrote it from that place. I actually had sent out a call to a community I'm in and just basically said, hey, here's what I'm experiencing. Here's the things that I want to do differently when I become a grandma. Does anyone feel the same? And the influx of responses I got was huge. I got, like 40 comments in 10 minutes of many, many women feeling the same way. So I wrote it because of an experience that I'm having and a vision that I have for my son's life and my life as a result. And I want to remind myself in the future all of the things that I want to remember to be and do. So it's kind of like a future love letter for myself.
I love that. And what is the biggest expectation hangover that you and your community that you pulsed has in regards to becoming a parent and then having grandparents?
I think there's probably many. One of them is engagement and presence. So what does that look like for someone to truly show up for someone that they care about and love? We all have our own perceptions and perspective of what that looks like. And I don't expect anyone to match my expectations. However, I do believe that there is kind of a certain level that a lot of people can reach. It's achievable if they put the energy into it and if they know how to do it. So that's where all of this came from, is these are the ways in which someone can show up for people that they love. And it might look different for everyone, but it is possible to do.
Okay. And how much would you have wished your parents would have shown up that way?
They try.
I don't mean with your kid. I mean with you.
Oh, for me. Oh, yeah. That's a whole other topic, right?
That is the topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot. And also, I'll probably say the thing that a lot of people say, which is if they hadn't been who they were, I wouldn't be who I am. And I really appreciate the experiences that I had because they enabled me to become the independent woman that I am. And
Great.
also, I know.
Pause. Now flip that on your mom in this situation.
Yeah.
You just said if they hadn't been who they were, it wouldn't have enabled you to be the person you are today. Can you give them the same opportunity and actually be truly who you are and see what that evokes in them in terms of a growth opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I think what comes up for me is the how. How do I enable that with them, not for them, but with them?
Don't enable it. That's the key. You don't. You continue to do what you do and be who you are and speak your truth, because this book doesn't sound like a broadcast article of how shitty your parents were. It doesn't sound like that at all. And it doesn't sound like you're saying that. If it triggered your mom, then there is some truth there that you touched upon. Mm-hmm. And when people feel, for lack of a better word, guilty, they get super defensive. And they want to make the person that's pointing the finger, not that you're pointing fingers, but you know what I mean here, wrong. So your opportunity is to step back and be proud of yourself for writing this book and let your mom be upset.
Yep. I mean, it's true. I think that I probably know that. And also the act of doing that feels.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the difference between kindness and enabling, because a lot of times when I coach like this, people hear it as, oh my gosh, that's so cold. This is family. This is your parent. They took care of you. And so let's make that distinction. I'm not saying you're doing that, but just for people listening here. So kindness means truth and love go together. So it sounds like you're being kind. It sounds like you're saying, Mom, this wasn't just based on you. There's so many ways that you've been a great parent and grandparent. And I wrote this to help me and to help other parents and to remind myself of the kind of grandparent that I want to be. And really anchoring in on the kind of grandparent I want to be is not a dig on you. And then she has her feelings about it. The enabling is wanting to make it better for her. Sharing truth and love, then having someone get upset about it, and then going in and trying to fix their feelings. That's the enabling piece.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's me.
Yeah. Well, it's not you.
Right. That's my tendency.
It's your pattern, right? It's a protective pattern. Okay. And so, and it also can take away from the excitement of this book.
Yeah, that's actually the other thing I was going to mention, because you said be proud of yourself. And that's the thing that I think is also really hard, is when you share something exciting that you've accomplished, my desire would be for that to be met with excitement. And it hasn't been. And so it takes away the excitement for me. And it makes me now wonder, is my product not good? Mm-hmm. Is what she's seeing because I didn't write it the right way? Or is that because how she's experiencing it? And I know it's not the fact that I wrote, it's not how I wrote it. It's her own personal lens, but it does get under your skin.
Well, it gets under your inner child skin. Mm-hmm. No matter how old we get, there's a younger part of us that just wants mom and dad to be proud.
Yep.
And so, of course, you're doing that. That makes a lot of sense. Doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter that you're a mother yourself. There's still that younger part who wants to know, am I okay? Did I do okay? Mm-hmm. Do you like me? Do you love me? Are you proud of me? And what I would encourage you to do is to greet that little part and say, yes, I'm so proud of you. Give that younger part of you that parental approval that she's searching and seeking.
Yep.
And know that, and this is where this is going to take the adult part of you. To the degree your mom was able to see how her own unprocessed wounding impacted her parenting is the same degree that she's going to be able to receive this book. Mm-hmm. And I know you know that.
And so you're saying, don't go to her and say, show me the places you want me to edit. Because that was what I was thinking I needed to do.
What do you think that would do?
Oh, it would not make me happy. I don't think it would result in anything positive for either side. I think we would both be compromising still.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's you wrote the book. Mm-hmm. So that tells me you want out of this pattern. Yeah. If you had enough resilience and stick-to-itiveness to actually finish the book that's coming out in September, which is not too far away. So the book is very far down the line. Then that tells me that you really want to say what you said. Mm-hmm. Now, if there was something in there that personally threw her under the bus and disparaged her character that benefits no one from reading about, then I'm not sure what the point of that is, you know? But it doesn't sound like you're doing that.
No, I was actually very careful not to do that.
Yeah. Yes, because you decided to lead with truth and love and not bitterness and hatred and revenge and those types of things and passive aggressiveness.
Those things are good to write down to get out, but not to share.
Absolutely. Those are good for release writing, but not to publish, because that's not truth and love together.
Yeah.
There's places for that. Yeah,
I do. I want to do things differently. I see what's possible, and I see a different way of being and living and loving and like showing that love. And if my son gets it in his own way from his family, that's great. And I want to make sure he gets it from a unique and special way from me.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you want to role model for him in terms of loving boundaries and staying true to oneself?
Yeah, I mean, I want him to see what's possible. I think it's important, especially for young boys. I know you have a young daughter. It's an important role that we play. Like the strength of a woman to be able to accomplish the things that she wants to do, to have boundaries, to make that come out in a way that feels truthful to her.
Right.
And to let him see like how much I love him too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is appropriate for you to be concerned about how he's feeling and help him with his emotions because he's little and he's your son. It's not your place to parent your mom.
Yeah.
So I just want you to imagine for a moment, she's upset. She doesn't want parts of this book coming out. If she had her way, you wouldn't have never wrote this. And just imagine the reality of that and tell me what happens in your body.
I mean, I think that there's a release of not taking on the emotions and I guess her own self understanding for myself.
Say more about that.
She must see herself a certain way. For her to have that reaction, it has nothing to do with me or what I wrote. It's about how she sees herself. Because some of the things that she was describing that she thought were about her, I was like, that's not about a grandparent at all. Those are about my friend relationships, but she internalized them for her. So there must be some guilt and feelings that she isn't able to express. And I can just release the ownership of that. I don't have to take that on.
And you can relate to it. So how old is your son?
He's 6.
Okay. And knowing now what you know, how often have you wanted to jump into a time machine and do something differently?
With him?
Yeah.
Only a few times, thank goodness. But that's because, I mean, I had my son later in life and I've been very intentional about how I want to be with him. And I know what good can look like. But there have definitely been times where I wish I could go back and say things differently or be a little softer or not lean into the upbringing that I had and instead continue to break the patterns as I'm working to do.
Great. So I just asked that because relatability is part of truth and love, right? So you can relate to the fact that your mom probably has some mom guilt. Hindsight is often much clearer. And some buttons got pushed in terms of some of the things her inner critic thinks about herself.
Yes.
Again, not your job to take it away, to fix it. Perhaps this is stuff she needs to look at, like you said before. And so you can relate. You can say, Mom, yeah, I really get that felt confronting, or I really get that you don't like this. I get that. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there doesn't have to be an and.
No, you can relate. You can have compassion. You can hear her and you can hold a boundary of like, Mom, I think I'm a little full in terms of talking about this with you, since I'm your daughter and I wrote this. Maybe there's someone else you need to talk about. This sounds like it's bringing up some stuff for you.
Yeah, we're not really a family of confrontation. So I think that's also been hard because instead of actually talking about it, it's been more of like a dance around it.
Yeah. Well, usually when people say we're not a family of confrontation, that means we're not very honest with each other.
Yeah. Or when you are, it's an explosion.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Repression usually leads to aggression.
Yes.
So this is where you can be honest and you can have boundaries and you can, if you are the generational pattern breaker, sometimes we think when we're the generational pattern breaker, we just need to do it with our children. Well, they're part of the equation, but it's also with our own family. Mm-hmm. We can't like stay in the dance with our own family and then like break the pattern with our children. Then we're really not breaking. We're breaking it like 50%.
Yeah.
But we're not breaking it for our own inner child.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I feel anxiety about like the breaking it with my parents. Not because I don't think it's possible, just because I think that well, maybe it isn't possible. I don't know, but I think it's worth trying.
Well, what may not be possible is that they change.
Right.
What is possible when I say break it is you break the dynamic inside yourself. Right? So you're no longer playing your role in the play.
Yep.
And not enabling your mom, not editing your book to make her okay, not over worrying about her feelings. Again, not in an a-hole kind of way, but in a loving boundaries, knowing your place as a daughter, moving out of codependence and enabling way, letting her have the dignity of her feelings and process. Mm-hmm. That's how you break it. We can't control if somebody else is going to, change their role or not. As you know, we only have control over us. But when we stop doing the dance, they don't have anyone to dance with.
Mm-hmm. I tried that this morning actually with my dad, the not playing my role, and it was hard, but I did it.
Great. What happened?
I'll skip the specifics of the event, but when normally I'm actually somebody with my dad who will push back on him and will confront him, but then it turns into he and I in an argument instead of him and my mom. And I tend to like step in and kind of save the day. And I didn't on purpose. And it de-escalated and it didn't turn into a whole thing. And even though I actually didn't feel great about letting it play out, I saw another way things can be. And I'm not saying that way is like the right way, because I don't think that even is quite it either. But there are other ways to approach things that de-escalate in different ways.
That's true. So how amazing that you had that conversation. You broke a pattern, you did something differently, and then we're having this conversation now. And then you wrote this book. It seems like you really want this.
I do. It's an interesting thing. I've always said I wanted to write a book. I've been an avid reader my whole life. I've always said I wanted to write a book. I never had an idea. I would like start and stop. And then this book I wrote in like 4 days. Now the editing process has been months, but like the original draft came pouring out of me because it was just ready to be shared.
There you go. There you go. So it sounds like you're really shifting, right? Your creativity is online, you're channeling things, you're being called, you're being directed. You don't want to put static in the radio by continuing to play out old patterns. Mm-hmm. There's a beautiful flow, an attraction point that's happening for you right now. And I just want to reassure you that you can stand in your truth. You can follow your passions. You can answer your calling. You can do the things that matter to you without hurting other people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's ultimately like my fear is,
yes,
do I put this out
may
there?
Get hurt. Yeah. And that's what you got to be okay with. Where at the end of the day, you can ask yourself, did I speak in truth and love? Yeah. Was it clean? Or is there any little part of me that just wanted to throw out a dig? Yeah.
Well, and that's what a good editor's for, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you were on it. You're like, to get the anger and the bitterness and all that stuff out, there's journaling for that. There's release writing for that, but it's not this book. You already know. Mm-hmm. You already know.
Yeah, I went through that process.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can edit it from the place of, am I charged in any of this? Right. But don't edit it from the place of, is this going to make my mom upset?
Right. Because I can't be responsible.
No. If you were telling me you were airing her dirty laundry and this was going to embarrass her and shame her, and like, we'd be having a different conversation, but that's not what this book is from what you're telling me.
Not at all.
Yep.
Yeah, that's helpful. My instinct was to wait and talk and edit and then edit it into something that it isn't recognizable anymore, which is not what I wanted to do, which is why I was just continuing to wait.
How do you feel about it now?
I feel like I have more of a peace around the decision to let go and let be.
Yeah.
And a good reminder that I don't have to be responsible for other people's emotional well-being.
Yeah. And to the part of you that still is kind of wrapped up in that, what I will say, I'll close out by bringing us back to something you said earlier in the call, which is because of the way your parents were, it made you who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
There is a possibility that whatever this triggers in your mom could lead to an awakening for her that she might have missed out in this lifetime having, if not for this trigger.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's important. And also I've seen that happening over the last 10 years already, which is great. And she's really leaning into the grandma role, which is amazing. And also there's more work to be done.
Yeah.
And that's
we're all still human.
Exactly.
We're never done.
Yeah.
We're never done. What's the name of your book?
It's called Don't Skip the Party.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and it's out in September?
It's out in September. Yep.
All right. All you parents and grandparents, Don't Skip the Party, out in September. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate this.
Yes. And I'll say to you, don't skip your own party by trying to make sure everybody else is having fun at
it. Yes. Good reminder. Thanks, Christine.
Oh, my pleasure. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much to Emily for bringing forward a topic that is so important and for writing your book. I'm really proud of you, and I'm proud of anyone who is just out there doing the work, breaking generational patterns. You all are just amazing and incredible, and I'm really proud of each and every one of you. And I want to reiterate, I said this in the coaching episode. Sometimes when I'm talking about breaking generational patterns, setting boundaries, to many people who are entrenched in this pattern, it can sound cold. It can sound like you don't love someone. And often, again, it's because we're so entrenched in this pattern. We've confused love with, I sacrifice myself. I don't pursue what I want. I don't speak the truth. I make sure you're okay. That's how I love you, is to make sure I'm not doing anything that upsets you, that I'm there for you. And that is not love. If we wanted to call it something, we call it codependence. I like to put it in the category of the merging safety strategy, where we do the I'm okay when someone else is okay. And we get love and safety by making sure that other people are okay, which leads to resentment, lack of boundaries, and a bunch of other stuff that's not that desirable. So I ask you, where in your life can you approach a relationship with more truth and love? Truth and love go together, right? I'm not saying that you just are going to be a jerk to people. That is not truth and love together. And I'm not saying you're just going to do unbridled self-expression. That is truth without love. And hiding your own truth, sacrificing yourself, overly compromising is not love. And it's also not authentic to what you want. It's more strategic than it is authentic. So I ask you, even in the relationships that you feel like, oh, I just can't, they've done so much for me, or it's my mom, or it's my child, or it's my partner, or whoever it is, how can you approach that relationship with more truth and love? And how can you give someone else the opportunity to perhaps use their upset as a way to evolve, as a way to grow in their own consciousness? Because sometimes when we think we're quote unquote hurting people, so we protect them, we prevent them from a tremendous growth experience. All right, everyone, that's our show for today. Sending you so much love and many blessings. Until next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Life Coaching. I hope something you heard today resonated with you and helped you to see yourself with more clarity and compassion. Remember, every shift, no matter how small you think it is part of your healing. If this episode supported you, please consider sharing it with a friend or leaving a review. It means the world to me. If you'd like to connect with me, come say hi on Instagram at Christine Hassler. And if you feel called to be coached live on the show, you can apply at christinehassler.com/waitlist. For courses, retreats, and more resources to support your journey, visit christinehassler.com. You're not alone in this journey, and I'm grateful to walk it with you. Until next time.